There we go. There we are. Now things should be good. Yes. Alright, through technical difficulties. Yep, and we are getting it. Perfect. So we're seeing an Arabella versus Ardagh's mirror here between Fish and MewUwW. So Ardagh's here is a very all-in red aggro deck, just trying to attack as fast as possible, especially with haste creatures, given that Ardagh's is the thing that buffs them. Arabella is a Boros aggro deck, sort of in a similar vein, but it cares a lot more about tokens and small creatures. Arabella's going to be the much bigger deck here, and something very important to this matchup is that Arabella gains life when she attacks, which is probably, yep. And between the attack trigger from Arabella and the broadside fling, as well as other damage, we're going to see the end of game 1 there. But now we get to go into sideboarding. I'm not actually sure what either of these players are running in their sideboards for this matchup. But I am guessing that white is going to have a stronger sideboard for this, just given the actual composition of the color. So now we're seeing... so we saw here in Game 1 the actual power of Broadside Bombardiers fully just shutting this down. And the actual thing that won here, I think, is Arabella herself, both being a sizable blocker that can trade fairly well with a lot of the objects Ardagh's can draw, and the life gain on top of it is incredible for this matchup. We have hands enabled. I don't know how to stop seeing those, so we're just gonna have that. But we are gonna see Ardagh's here on the play. This looks like it might be a Lotus Petal turn 1 Ardagh's into turn 2 Rally at the Hornburg. We're just gonna see the Goblin guy dropped. Ooh, we're going to see a Flage on top. That's going to be an incredibly powerful card for this matchup. Not even so much because it can come back, just being a Lightning Helix is going to be massive for this matchup. See a Fetch Plateau, grab a Ragavan. See some equally powerful red 1-drops, I'm sure. See a Mountain played out by MewUwW. Going straight into combat, no haste damage. Fish is going to pick up a Plains, go to make the trade with the Goblin Guide. Then just a pass, very interesting. See that same Plains come down. And I imagine we're going to see an Arabella cast here. We're going to see Corey Steelcutter hit the table. And we're going to see no turn 2 play out of MewUwW. That was looking for a Arabella cast for a Ghostfire Slice to hit it, and Fish has not played into that. See Mountain, Lotus Petal. Looks like we're going to be dropping Ardagh's, likely into this rally at the Hornburg. Yes. So this is going to make 2 1/1 soldiers, and then give all humans haste. So this is going to be a swing in because of Ardagh's ability for 9 here on turn 3. Heading back over to Fish. One interesting thing about this is if Flage comes down, takes out Ardagh's, If Mew has a land, recast Ardaws, that's an attack for 5, and then that leaves 3 1-drops in play, which is certainly a bit awkward. As well, wanting to trigger the Quarry Steelcutter and finding a 1-drop off the top. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see Lightstall Inquisitor into either Arabella or this Thraben Charm as removal. We are going to see that Lightstall. I imagine we're going to see the either Ghostfire Slice or Spark Elemental. Yep, Ghostfire Slice is being dropped here. So that'll cost 1 more to cast. And it looks like we are going to see the Thraben Charm aimed at this Ardaws. That'll trigger the Quarry Steelcutter, making a 2/2 token. Well, 1/1 with +1/+1 for now. Then we're going to see a pass. So with 3 toughness on board, this is a position where Force of Rage can look quite good, being a functionally another copy of Ball Lightning that Ardaws sees twice. So we're going to see some 3/1 Trample Hastes coming in here. And we're going to see an attack for 8, it's looking like. So this is now a forced block out of fish. I imagine we're just going to trade with both human tokens, given that these elementals have trample. We're just going to see fish going down to 2 life here. We sure are. But the board is now clear, but fish is into either Ardaws or bolt range, though this Flage certainly can help with that. See a Goblin Guide hit, fish going down to 1 life. We're going to see this Flage hit, taking a chunk out of their life, going back up to 3, or up to 4. We are now in Ghostfire Slice range still, so if a land or other accelerant is found, this game might just be over. And we're going to see a Simian Spirit Guide. Looks like we are taking that Ghostfire Slice to the face. Pitching that Spirit... Oh, are we seeing a Spirit... Okay, yes. We are seeing that Ghostfire Slice. That'll wrap up this game too. So yeah, this game we saw the sort of unbridled power of pushing damage faster than the opponent can react. Just keeping fish off her toes, making her unable to get any life gain engines down, unable to stick any threats under the immense pressure. And all the creatures she played had to end up blocking and trading. But into game 3 here, we're going to see fish on the play, which is definitely the place you want to be against Ardaws. Looks like we're going to see 2 snap keeps out of both. We're going to see snap keeps out of both players. No, we are not. We're just moving to main phase. Going to see 2 mulligans over on Ardaws' side. The Lotus Petal is awkward here. Being a temporary mana source that goes away, definitely not the sort of thing you want on 5, but this deck is, at the end of the day, fully the aggro deck in this matchup. Oh, that was a mulligan to 4. Yeah. Keeping just the Loyal Apprentice, Petal, and 2 lands. We see a Plateau, Ragavan. Finding a Goblin Guide off the top, not a bad hit. We're going to see that played. Going to crash in. Seeing a March off of Fish's deck. Removal spell's never a bad one to have for this matchup. We're going to see the Goblin Guide connect, valuing the Ragavan. Ragavan's getting in there. Flipping a mountain, making a treasure token. So we could see a Skyclave played this turn, both as a blocker that takes out the Goblin Guide, We could see something like Goblin Guide hold up March. It is feasible to play Cutter Goblin Guide, but that is a little awkward given that we are pre-combat. We're going to see an Arabella cast. Interesting. That does make sense. Arabella is the life gain object, and we are still holding a March of Otherworldly Light, pitching that Skyclave Apparition for 2. Just in case something terrible happens. We're going to see a Lotus Petal crack. We're going to see this Rite of Flame hit the stack. We're going to see Ardaws and the Loyal Apprentice cast. I imagine that we're going to see the March pitching Skyclave here on Ardaws in a second. Either Ardaws or Loyal Apprentice will make this pretty hard for Fish to lose here. Certainly better to do it before combat either way. Make sure you don't get that Thopter token heading in. Looks like Fish is just considering which of those 2 objects to march right now. Oh, are we seeing combat? No, we are not. Oh. Combat is being entered. Very interesting. We are going to see a swing in for 10, 12 damage here, probably. Maybe the Goblin Guide doesn't attack just because Arabella blocks it for free, but I imagine it is going to regardless. Yep. We're going to see a land flip. We're going to see a Flage on top. Alright, not a bad hit, for sure. And are we going to see a block? Arabella attacking next turn will gain... Yes, we are going to see block on Goblin Guide. So that's putting Fish down to 7. The attack on this next turn will gain at least 2. If we see Goblin Guide, Quarry Steel Cutter, or Skyclave Goblin Guide, something akin to that, or no, there's no 4 mana here. We could see Arabella certainly gain 3 or 4. One big option here is just to cast Flage, take out the Ardaws or Loyal Apprentice again, gain 3 life for the trigger, 3 life for the attack, shut down the engine. Flage or Skyclave Apparition will do that fairly similarly. We're going to see a March instead. Very interesting, not going for life gain. Oh, we're going to see Quarry Steel Cutter, then pitching Skyclave, get a trigger. Alright, so this is an attack for gaining 3 life, 3 damage, and 5 damage. Going back up to 10. We're going to see Ragavan flip a mountain, bank a treasure token. We are just going to see that Goblin Guide cast. Not banking that for a Quarry Steel Cutter trigger for potentially next turn. And it looks like nothing is castable over on MewUwW's side. So we're likely just going to see an attack. Just for 3. Loyal Apprentice not getting in. Looks like she still has aspirations of getting Ardaws back down. We're seeing a Johnny flip off of the Goblin Guide and no block on the Goblin Guide's trading. So the 2 options here are playing a Johnny is certainly a fine one that'll, drain Mew 2 more life via the Arabella attack and make ground attacks very, very awkward. We're going to see that swing in. Life gain swing for 6 here. Putting Mew down to 4, and it looks like that is lethal. Because blockers can only block up to 4 damage here, or 2 damage here, and 5 will be getting through. Yep, putting Mew down to -3. That'll be our game. Seeing a lot of play draw here in this matchup on whether how fast Ardaws can get down, or how fast Arabella can start gaining life and swinging out from under the pressure Ardaws is applying. Not many matchups you see where Arabella is the actual control deck in the matchup. Very interesting to see. Thank you all for watching. That'll be this game wrapped up. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely brutal for sure. Thank you.